Hello. Okay, guys, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Let me share the screen. You guys able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this session is completely deals with your AWS and DevOps. Okay. So today in this session we are going to discuss about what is AWS, what are the services we are going to cover on AWS, and what is DevOps, and what are the activities. What is DevOps? Like what are the activities we are going to perform on the DevOps? So what are the roles and responsibility of the DevOps? So what are the things we are going to perform in the real-time scenarios? All the things we are going to discuss in this current session. Okay. So coming to the first thing, AWS. So AWS is a cloud platform. Means cloud platform is nothing but like if you want to order something like books, mobiles, anything, what we will do? So we will take your mobile, you will place your items, you will place in the cart and you will get the things. Same thing, how can we relate with IT industry? So if you want to go with any product, so with your mobile, you will get all the items at your doorstep. Same thing, if you want to go with IT industry, all the resources, like if you want to go with networking, if you want to go with storage, if you want to go with admin work. Okay, so IT is nothing but it's a combination of multiple people are working in an IT company. Right? So if your person is from fresher or experienced person, any person you take it. So once you join in an organization, you will be part of the team. Your role may be any role. Either you are from the development role, either you are from the admin role, either you are from admin role, networking role, storage role, DB role, any role it may be take. Okay. So, but previously when cloud is not came into picture, so we have to rely on lot of companies. For example, if you want to build your infra for your company, infra is nothing but, so once you join an organization, you are allocating system, you are accessing the system you want to access from outside of your company network. And you want storage for your system, you want network for your system, you want DB for your system. All the things, like if you want to work in an organization, we have to rely on lot of activities. Okay, so a lot of teammates has to be there in order to do your work, right? So if you want to allocate a system, admin person has to come. So if you want working on a coding part, software should be installed in your system. And if you want to deploy your applications, so we require other teams. So we have to rely on a lot of teams in here, and these teams are help us to build our complete infra for our organization. So before cloud is happening, so we need to rely on some companies called data center companies. These data center companies, what they will do, so they will provide a guarantee for your application deployment and maintenance of your servers. Everything those companies only will take care of your things. So what are the servers you require? How many servers you require? What is the storage you require? What is the network you require? All the things that will be taken care by these data center companies. So if you are using the servers, if you are not using the servers, if you are not doing the application, but they are going to charge for your how much duration of servers you want to maintain it, like 6 months or 1 year, anything you are using it. So they will charge for the billing for it. So to overcome this, all these things, so this AWS and this cloud platform companies, what they tell, so why to rely on each and everything? Why can't we do from our own end? Okay, so all the IT resources, like they have organized all the IT resources Like if you want to work in any kind of a company, like it may be a small based company or large based company. So why to rely on each and every person to do the activities? Admin related activity, network related activity, storage related activity, database related activity, application deployment, domain naming. Okay. So exposing your application to the outside world internally, everything we want to, whatever the activities we are doing internally, all the activities, no need to rely, no need to purchase licenses, no need to go outside. Everything we can available in a single place. So that place we are going to call it as a cloud platform. Okay, so your friend is network engineer, your friend is database engineer, somebody is from storage engineer, somebody is from admin engineering, you are from the development team, your friend is testing, your application is deploying. Okay, so exposing your application, assigning the domain name to your application. Okay, you want to maintain some storage, your images, your files, uploading everything. So whatever the single kind of activity which you are doing inside your organization, to perform that activity, we require some team. Right. So all the teams, instead of relying all the teams, so all the IT resources which are related to IT company, all the things they have organized into a cloud. So that's the reason we have a cloud platform came into picture. And if you want to upgrade, if you want to do any kind of activity, for example, you are from database. I want to build Oracle database for our organization or for our project. So we need to purchase the Oracle team to get the license version. These many members are using, we require a license key. So we need to send a request, we need to get a response from them. So no need to rely on the third party team here. Everything, like if you are working on any kind of activity in the IT side, all the things we can rely on AWS. Okay, so here we have a multiple cloud platforms are available. Every cloud platform is a competition to other cloud platform. Okay, so for example, the Microsoft company, so they have their own cloud platform they have developed, that is Azure. So Google company, they have developed their own cloud platform, that is some people will call as GCP. Same thing, Amazon company, so they have built their own cloud platform, that is AWS. Okay, so AWS is a developed by Amazon. So if you don't require, if you don't want to rely on each and every person and IT resources which are related to the company, everything will be available in the cloud itself. That is AWS cloud. So you don't know networking, you don't know database, you don't know application deployment, you don't know how the applications will be deployed, how the domain name is mapping, how you are accessing the application, how you are sending the files from one system to other system. So you take any activity in IT, once you join in the organization, so once you exit from the IT organization, it may be a manager, team lead, storage, networking, admin, any person you take in a IT side, all the resources can be available in the cloud platform. You can choose any cloud platform, all the concepts and all the things are same. Okay, so to order to implement any kind of, like, we will have a project. So project, if you want to complete the project, so there are certain services should be learned in order to implement the projects. Okay, so for example, you take doctor's model, Flipkart application, Amazon application. These are all web-based applications. It may be a two-tier architecture, it may be a three-tier architecture, like front end will be there, back end will be there, business logic will be there. So any type, so if you are working based upon your experience, so there also AWS also have a certain roles are available here. So some of the roles like admin role, okay, development role. Next, we have a lead role. Okay, architect level role is there. Okay, so if you're choosing an architect level, so we are not doing on the problem statement, they will tell you by the client, we need to give the solution for that client. Okay, so respect to services, we need to have it and we need to go here. Okay, so AWS projects, you type it. Go to the images, you can see lots of projects. If you see any kind of a project, so this, they will give the problem statement for us. So they will, the architect or the team lead, they will give the problem solution, they will give it. Okay, so you take any one of the thing. Okay, so if you see, so this is AWS one. So we have internet gateway, load balancer, route table, subnet, security groups, and these are all the concepts of the services. So if you take any kind of a project. So it is a combination of services. To take this one. Okay. So Route 53, CloudFront, S3 bucket. Okay. So this is the VPC concept. This is a database. Okay. ALB. Okay. So like that, if you want to complete any project, so there will be certain services are there. So we can link each and every services, and these services are related to your work. So project related work, it may be a network work, it may be a database work, it may be storage work, it may be a server work. Any kind of a work is there. So the AWS engineer should have knowledge on all the domains. So I know only Java coding, I will work on the Java side. No, it is not like that. If we are related to the cloud means, so we should have knowledge on all kind of domains. Okay. So what are the activities which are performing in the real-time scenarios? All the things we can do from the AWS. Okay, so this is like we have a certain services are there. So first services we have IMA. So IMA is nothing but, so if you want to log into the AWS, we require a user. To log into the AWS required, so some 50% are working in the project. So 50% are working on the AWS project means 50 users has to be there in AWS. So in order to give individual login access for AWS account, and what set of permissions you want to give for the user. So if he's working on two services only, so two services permissions only we need to give it. Inside the two services also, what type of permissions we want to give it? Either read permissions you want to give it, or write permissions, or delete permissions, or admin level permissions. Everything we can restrict it. User related, we can have a complete restrictions by using the IMA. So IMA stands for Identity Access and Management. So it complete deals with your users. How user belongs to which group, he belongs to development group. So we can write a certain policy to the user level so that we can give the permission restriction to the user level. Okay, so the except root user or admin user, remaining all the users are IMA user. Okay, so set of permissions giving for the user for accessing the AWS account, all the things we can discuss on the IMA part. Okay, so next second thing we have CLI. CLI is nothing but command line interface. So there are three ways we can create a resources. So one is through console. So one more thing, in AWS, we don't have any coding. Something they will feel that we need to write 1,000 lines of code, 100 lines of code. So those concepts will not available in the AWS. So everything it's a concept based and everything it's a UA based only. So something like small commands will be there, except one module, everything it's a concept based. Everything it's a UA. No coding will be available in the AWS side. Okay. So CLI is nothing but, so if you are going to, this looks like, this is AWS account. Okay. So this is AWS account. If anybody having AWS account is fine. So whenever you see this AWS account, if you are doing any kind of activity, you are seeing instances, Elastic IP, load balancer, snapshot. This is one of the service. Okay, easy to service. So in this, lot of activities are there. So you can see security group is one, means one security group is available. If you want to create one more security group, so this UI we are going to call it as a management console. Through management console also, we can create a resources. Okay. And one more thing is through command line also we can create a resources. So if somebody has to write a script, so we require a CLI commands. So if you want to create a same kind of activity, so we can create from UI. Okay. So if you want to create a one more security group, what we will do from the console, we will log in it. We will click on create security group and we'll give the basic information and we'll create it. Okay. Same kind of activity. If you want to do through, so we can do from console UI based one. Another one is through commands. So command line also interface also very important. So if you want to create a resources in AWS, we can go with either with console or CLI. Okay. And one more option we have a SDKs. SDKs is nothing but the persons who are really interested in the programming. I don't want to go with console. So software development kits also Amazon is providing it. So if you are really interested in the program side, we can go with SDKs. So most of the people, they don't go with SDKs. Okay, either they go with from front-end management console or from through CLI. Okay, so we will teach from everything from scratch. Don't worry. Okay, so next thing is very important model. So that is EC2. EC2 is completely deals with your servers. How to create a servers, how to log into the servers. Okay, how to take a backup of your servers, how to create a custom servers, how to create a when you log into your organization, so something predefined softwares like Java should be there. If you are from Java background, Java, some default software should be same kind of version will be there in all your systems in your team. Okay, how come it got access? Okay, all the things like how to create a servers. Okay, so server is nothing but in your local system, it's maybe a Windows system. So we are going to call it as a system, but in IT organization, so the naming convention is like a server. That's it. So everything in the AWS, what we are discussing here, right? So creating servers and everything, it's a virtual. Okay, so if you want to create a servers, so if you want to buy a laptop, you will go to the laptop shop and will buy it. But here it's not like that. Everything is a virtual. So virtual connecting to the server, virtually launching the server, what type of operating system you want it, how much RAM you require for a system, how much storage you require for a system, all the things, server related activities, upgradation, degradation, deleting. Okay, so how many servers you want to create, a number of servers at a time if you want to create it, all the activities we can discuss from the EC2. Okay, so next concept we have a load balancers. Okay, so load balancer, what is meant by load balancer is nothing but, suppose for example, this is your server. So if you this is one application, take something like Flipkart or any application, you take it. Small based application, you take it. Anything application. But if you want to deploy your application, we require a server. So once you deploy the application inside the server, so the system it goes down. There may be any reason. It may be a software failure, it may be a hardware failure, it may be something system happens, anything. So the user is trying to access this application from the browser. So if there is any problem with your system, okay, it may be a software issue or it may be hardware issue. Okay, so what happens? The user will not able to access the application because the server is not running, its hand will hang up. Okay, so there may be any reasons will be available to application may go down or server having any issues. To overcome this kind of a problem, what they have done, so they are going with the load balancing concept, balancing the load. Okay, so there will be a single kind of a URL will be available for us. Something like Flipkart, www.flipkart.com, google.com, gmail.com. When you are typing anything in the from the browser, so what they will do, so they are maintaining the load balancer. Inside the load balancer, we have identical systems are there. For example, this is Windows 11. So this is also Windows 11. This is also Windows 11. So like we will maintain a multiple servers as a group here. And this all the systems are identical systems. Identical systems are nothing but, so what are the configurations, what are the softwares, what are the application related things which we are maintaining one server, it should be the same in all the servers. So all the servers, they are going to deploy the same kind of application. Okay, so URL will be same, single only, but load, the number of users are accessing the URL, it may be any kind of URL. So the request will goes to your any one of the server here. Okay, so browser, when we user is typing from the browser, so the request will goes to the any one of the server which is present in the load balancer. Okay, so based upon the resources availability, so the request will goes to the any one of the servers which are present in the load balancer. So that's the reason if you see Flipkart, Amazon.com, anything you take it, so the application will never goes down. And if you want to do the upgradation of the servers, like I want to go with new changes in my application, how they are going to do it, all the things we are going to discuss in the load balancing concept. Okay, so how we are going to balance your load on the servers. Okay, so why the applications are available 24/7 with your downtime, even if the changes doing it, if they're adding a new changes, they are changing the UI also, why our application is not down. Okay, so why we are able to see 24/7 our application is up and running. Why even if one software hardware failure happens also, if there is a failure in this server, no problem. The request will goes to the remaining servers. That's the reason whenever you are typing any URL here. Okay, so whenever you are typing any URL here, Okay, so when you're typing from the browser, the request will goes to the any one of the servers in the load balancer. Okay, so three types of load balancer are available here: gateway, application, ELB, NLB, network load balancer. Okay, so we will discuss daily once we go into the session part. Okay, so application related deployments, how we are going to access our application, all the things we are going to discuss on the load balancer. Okay, so fifth concept we have a auto scaling. So auto scaling is nothing but adding or removing servers from load balancer based on certain conditions. Auto scaling is nothing but adding or removing the servers from the group, right? So here, for example, this system can handle only 1,000 requests. This system can handle only 2,000 requests, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. 6,000 users are accessing from the URL. So 6,000 requests per second. If you are sending the request, these systems can handle. If 7,000 requests comes to our application, so these systems can only handle 6,000 requests per second. So if you want to handle 7,000 requests, so based upon the condition, so it should automatically add the server to the group. So 7,000 requests, one more server. Automatically, identical system which we are maintaining it, same system should be added automatically to the group. And if number of requests are increasing more, 8,000 requests, 9,000 requests, 10,000 requests. So as per the request is increasing, so automatically adding the server to the group, how we are going to do it? That can be handled in the auto scaling. Adding the servers to the group, and if the number of requests are decreasing, so only 5,000 requests are coming. So if you don't require the servers, what we will do? So we will remove the servers from the group. Okay, so these type of concepts, what we are going to do. So we are going to discuss on the auto scaling part. Okay, adding or removing the servers from the group based upon the conditions. Which conditions you want to check it? Either performance of the system or the load increasing on the system based upon certain conditions, or schedule based, like 30 minutes or half an hour, you keep on adding the servers. Okay, so there are certain policies are available in it. So based upon that, we can add the servers to the group. Okay, so that we can discuss on the auto scaling part. So next thing is VPC. VPC is a virtual private cloud. So it completely discuss with your networking. So the persons who are new from networking, so what is meant by networking, I don't know. But here from scratch, we'll tell it what is networking. See, so if you are seeing your system, okay, so if you are typing, okay, so how your system is allocating the IP4 address. So what is meant by IPv6 address? Okay, so in your company network, you are able to communicate from your system to your friend system. So your friend system is in Bangalore location. So you both people are working on same company, but the locations are different. So how you are able to communicate it, how you are able to send the files. Okay, all these things, how the system to system is communicating happen. Okay, so how you are going to expose your application to the outside world, how you want to expose your applications internally within the organization is based upon your network rules. And if you are typing www.google.com from your browser, means your network is access to your system. So how the network will be assigned to you? If you remove it, how the network will not happen? All the things like network related concepts, we are going to discuss under the VPC. Okay, so next thing is we have a CFT. CFT is nothing but cloud formation templates. So these cloud formation templates are very, very important. So in order to provide entire solution, what are the things you have learning now till now, all the services. So everything we can do the automation. There are certain templates are there. So if you are creating a EC2 server, we are doing the manual activity. So no need to go to the manual activity. So you can do through the cloud formation templates. So with this template, so we can create an entire infra for our organization within a fraction of seconds. Okay, so we need to write some certain template. We have a certain structure is there. So what is template version? What are the parameters? What are the resources? What are the mapping conditions? What is the output? Okay, so some functions are available here. So the predefined template, we will get it from the online. So I will share the examples. Just we need to update the Key will be fixed one, value should be, we need to update it. Okay, no coding will be there. So template will be available, just we need to update the template. Okay, so those things, CloudFormation templates is a complete infra, we can build it. So with the help of a CFT. So what are the services you are learning it? So what are the manual activities you are doing it? No need to do the manual activity. If you want to go with automation solution, then we will go with CloudFormation templates. Okay, so enter it from. So 8th point. So we are discussing about the CloudWatch. So CloudWatch is a monitoring solution. So if you want to monitoring your servers, like what is the network in and out happening. So how if you want to monitor your server, so if the performance of the system going down, so utilization, CPU utilization or memory, everything. So system related resources, you want to track it, and based upon the activity, if you want to do any perform activity on the server, like if you want to do the cleanup activity, if you want to restart the server automatically, so those things we can discuss on the CloudWatch. CloudWatch is a monitoring solution for the server. And the 9th solution, we have a CloudTrail. So CloudTrail is nothing but logs. So whatever the activity, once you log into the AWS and once you log out from the AWS account, each and every activity, if you want to track it. For example, in your teammate, 4 members are there. So unfortunately, one important server has been deleted by one of the user. Everybody have the access to delete the servers. But one of the server, instead of stopping the servers, he has terminated the server. He has completely removed the server, but he will tell that we will ask the team who has deleted the server. So they will tell that I haven't deleted it. But each and every user activity, we can track it from the CloudTrail. So from last 90 days, all the logs will be stored. If you are creating the EC2 server, if you are creating the IMA, if you are deleting any resources in AWS, everything the AWS will be captured. So if some miscellaneous activity happened or somebody has deleted unfortunately resources, no need to talk with the people. So we can go to the CloudTrail, we can track each and every user activity, what he is performing it, how many servers he is creating, how many servers he is deleting. Okay, so everything we can capture through CloudTrail. S3. Okay, so S3 is nothing but storage solution. If you want to upload your files, folders, PDF, any type of a extension like Excel sheet, anything you take it, you can go with S3. S3 is a storage solution. So when you're having upload button for anything, any option, like it's a login page or if you're doing any activity. So for application related things, if you want to store your, how you're having the C drive, D drive of a system. So for entire AWS, S3 is a storage solution. You can store unlimited data here. Okay. And also we can have a restriction to the users that to whom you want to give access. Okay, all the things we can provide under the S3. Okay, so 11th topic, we have a notification service. So if something activity happened, like if the server got deleted, somebody, you should get notification either via SMS or email. So if you want to do the notification for every activity which you are performing in AWS, that can be notification service. Technically, it will not do anything, only for the notification. Like you should get notification for each and every activity which you are going to perform on the server. Okay, so to the entire team also we can send this. So finally, we have a queuing service. So SQS is a queuing service. So if you want to store the temporary data, so every second you are getting the data, but we are unable to process the data within a second. So in the next second, we are getting one more data. Continuously, we are getting the data. So we are going to store the data temporarily. If you are not able to process the data also fine. So we are going to provide a queuing mechanism. So up to 7 days, 14 days, how much duration you want to keep the data. So whenever you have the time, you can read the data and you can process the data. Okay. So queuing service is nothing but from, for example, we have 100 devices are there. So from 100 devices, within a 1 minute, we are getting lakhs of data from the devices. So what we will do, so we are going to use this queuing mechanism to store your data temporarily. Okay, so to store your data temporarily and for later, if you want to go to process it, how much duration you want to keep the data, how much after certain days, when you want to delete the data, all the things we can discuss on the queuing service. Okay, so 13 service we have a Route 53. So what is Route 53 is nothing but it's a completely DNS. DNS name solution is nothing but, so if you want to perform any like so Flipkart.com, Amazon.com, if you take any site and the website, so generally people who are not from the IT background, they will go with GoDaddy.com. So they will search for the domain names. I want to publish one blog. I want to publish something sample application. What they will do? So they will purchase server and they will purchase a domain names. Right. So here also Route 53 is a completely domain name solution. So what are the domain name you require? Just purchase the company domain name like tcs.com, wipro.com, anything you take. So they will go to the Route 53. They will purchase the standardized domain name, and inside the domain name, so we can have a subdomain names. So registering your domain names, all the solution will be provided by AWS is a Route 53. Okay. So finally, we have a CloudFront. So CloudFront is a distribution solution. So if you want to distribution your static web pages or dynamic web pages around the world, okay. So dynamic container based web content. So you can show your data to the entire the world. So CloudFront is a distribution solution for distributing your data to across your world. Okay. So this is the CloudFront. So finally, the last tool and very important one is Lambda. So Lambda is nothing but it's a only one module in the AWS. It's a coding one. So if you are from Java background or data background, PHP, AngularJS, Node.js, any programming language you take it. So AWS is supporting it. So in this Lambda function, what we will do? So we will get certain data in particular format. So we need to use some logic to convert the data, saving the data, retrieving the data from the database. All the things we can see in the Lambda. Okay. So don't worry about the Lambda function, how to write it and how to see shortcuts. So we'll guide you in the Lambda function. Lambda is the only service in the AWS which having the coding one. Okay. So these are the things we are going to cover it. So these are related to the AWS one. So if you want to, even if you go for the interview, if you want to write any certification examination, okay. So they have categories based on the same thing, admin side, networking side, storage test. So finally we have a RDS. It's a database. So RDS contains multiple databases, MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL, Amazon, Aurora DB. Okay. All the things are like a relational databases. So if you want to work with database, how to set up the database, how to insert the data, how to create tables, columns, who will handling the database engineer. Even AWS engineer can handle the database activity. Okay. So if you see application deployment, logging, monitoring, networking, queuing, storage, notification service, networking, everything. What are the activities we are going to perform in the real-time scenarios? All the things can be handled by a single person. So that person is a AWS engineer. Okay. So in this also we have a multiple roles are there. So if you are as much your experience increasing, you can give the problem statement to the solution. Okay. So in AWS we have almost 100 plus services are there. Okay. So if you want to work on the machine learning domain, so some certain services are there. So if you're working on the media side, so certain services are there. So these services will help us to most of the 90% of the projects they are using these services. Okay. So that's the reason we are going to cover the AWS. So even if you attend for the interview, which services you have worked on it, so they will ask those services only. They will ask the questions from those services only. So 90% of the projects will be using these services only. So 10% of the chances you may get a chance to work in the UA, and everything documentation, everything will be provided, and links will be provided, documentation links will be provided for you. So just we need to focus on that. There will be no coding part here, only the everything it's UA part. So in order to clear the interview, if you want to work in the project, you should be very clear in the concept wise. So if you have any doubts, any questions, you can ask me.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is Urmila. So you mentioned like this let's say this networking thing or database thing. So generally in company, they have a different group to work on this thing. Like
Yes,
database,
yes,
there are data engineers. For networking, they have networking engineer,
yes,
and they do coding and maintain whatever things need to be done there. So
yes,
if everything in AWS, if you mentioned that it's you pay and get the service, so
yes,
that
because
means those groups will be totally eliminated from the company, and they will pay
yes,
to
yes.
AWS, and they will
Yeah,
work for the
AWS.
company.
No need to rely on the network engineers. If you want to do the network setup, we need to hire the network engineers. So if you want to do the database activities for your application, so we need to hire the database engineers. If you want to maintain some storage, your application requires 1000 GB, 5000 GB RAM. So 5000 GB space we require. So the maintenance, taking the backups, everything will be, we need to rely on the backup engineers, storage engineers, database engineers, network engineers. So if you want to allocate a server, if you want to upgrade your server, so there will be system admin in your company, right? So in
Yes.
order to those all people can be eliminated here. All the activities, everything we can do it
Company
on
there
our
will be
own.
in company there will be no employee. All the employee will be in Amazon.
Amazon is not like that. So if everybody can't pay the amount, right? So if you want to do the networking, so we can have the network engineers. If you're not able to handle like 24/7, you can't work it, right? So you can work only 8 hours. So if you want to do the other activity, so if the person is not available, you can have the knowledge on networking side. You can only set up the entire networking thing. So we will not do the daily networking. We will not do it. For our project related, we will do the networking. It will be take only one time of activity, right? So daily we will not do, we are not working on a 100 projects. We are working only on the single one or two projects we are going to work it. So for our project, we will do the networking.
Okay.
Okay. So if you want to work on individually, no need to rely, you need to join your organization, you need to set up the company, you need to hire the database engineer, you need to hire the network engineer, storage admin person. So for example, if you want to allocate a system, so we need to manager will request to the admin team, they will come to the you and they will place the system. If you want to upgrade it from RAM 8 GB to 16 GB, what they will do again, we need to raise the tickets. Everything is a ticket based, approval based. So longer time it will take it. Minimum 1 hour, 2 hours will be take. But if you have the AWS second cloud platform, so within the fraction of seconds, fraction of minutes, so we can do every activity. Even if you want to deploy your application, so Java software, we need to raise the request that has to be installed. If some plugin is not available, we need to coordinate with some people and we need to do it. But everything in the cloud, so no need to rely on each and every person. What are the things you require? All the things I'm providing a platform for you. Just use that one and start working on things. No need to rely. It's like a pay and use. So how much you require to take it, and at the end of the month you will get the bill. You pay it and use it.
So
But
in that case, that pay and use, the user will be the AWS engineer.
yes, the user will be AWS engineer. If you want to work with project, like you don't want to work on the database side, so you are not
Oh,
much more on the database side. So even if you know the database side also, they will hire the database, but you will be focusing on the infra side building, like cloud formation templates. You can build the entire infra for your organization.
okay. Okay.
Okay. So company will be relying on certain persons, but if you have the knowledge on each and every domain, AWS person, if you have started with your own company, so if you have a knowledge on AWS is the one solution, we can start our own company and we can start deploying. We can give the clients. If you have the client, so we can create a domain name, permanent domain name, and we can assign that domain name to your application and we can give to the client. So no need to rely on domain purchasing like domain teams, networking teams, storage teams, no need to rely on. So we in the AWS cloud, so we can learn each and every domain knowledge. For example, I learn some course like Java development. So if any Java requirement comes, I will do it. But how the server will be allocated for you. So how the software will be installed, how the IP address will be assigned. So if you want to share the code to your friend system, how we are going to share it, the code, and how we are setting the new server, and how we are deploying the application, and how we are exposing that application to all the persons in the team you want to access it. So all these concepts, how it happen internally, instead of knowing only the Java development coding. So Java developer, he learns AWS. So what happening inside the organization, each and every from day one inside to exit from the company, what are the activities, each and every domain people are doing it. All the activities we can keep it from the cloud platform.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the things here there. So not only these services, So in the real-time scenario, you may get to work on other service also, but everything is a documentation, no coding will be there. We can easily understand it. But what
Eh,
exact service will do, we should know about the knowledge on it.
Shyam, this is Ramesh here. I have two questions actually. The first one is right. So if we go like prior to cloud, right? So if you want to store 1 petabyte of client's data, like we usually store the on-premise, like where the servers, like let's say the data center and servers disks low, we'll
Yes.
store it. Let's say in case if any of the failure, right, any disk redundancy, we will get restore the data. That's how on-premises.
Yes.
So after that, latest right cloud came, right? So my
Yes.
question is like in cloud, where exactly data is get stores?
Data stores is like generally we have two types of activities are there. So data is nothing but database. Either you want to go with the storage solution, you want to have a files folders. Storage is nothing but two things are there. So either data, it comes in the tables wise, they will store it, or files. Data is
That
nothing
means
but
like where my question is Sham, right? In on-premises we can physically we can see there is a disk, right? There is a
yes.
box, like it will be stored the data, right?
Yes.
In cloud, where it will be?
Cloud is also like if you want to migrate from on-premises to the AWS, so there are certain services like migration services are there. So that problem statement we need to give it. So how without losing the data from the on-premises, if you want to migrate to the AWS, so there are certain services are there that is called as a migration services. Without losing the data, if you go for the AWS console, so we have a latent services are there. You can see. So
No, no,
these are
no.
the
Sorry,
services.
Dasya. My question is not how to migrate. The question is right. Let's say I have 1 petabyte data. I need to store in the cloud. So where we are going to store the data, like in physical, I'm giving I say give example, right? If we want to
Yes.
store in the physical in our laptop, right? It will
Mm.
stores in the device or the disk something XYZ device, right?
Yes.
In cloud, where it will stores, like let's say,
So there is a
means,
generally like AWS support team is there. So if you want to
uh-huh.
support more than 1 petabyte, something you are telling, right? So there is a migration service. They have certain own devices with the AWS is there. So if you want to request that from AWS support team, so what they will do, they will carry their own vehicle to that respect to on-premises company. So with their own devices, without losing the data, they can store the data in their own devices and they will reach to our organization. So where I want to store this data, you want to store in S3 or if you want to store in the database, how we are going to take the tables. So the AWS will give the 100% guarantee that, so we should not lose the data and there should be like 100% security that is providing it. So what type of service we need to choose for this? So there is a concept called snowball.
Okay. So yeah.
Snowball is like,
Also following question, right? So as I have limited information, right? So
yes,
initially few clients, especially finance client, banking and right insurance clients,
yes,
they are scared to come to the cloud because right,
yes.
especially
Security.
because of the security. In
Yes,
case if they comes to the cloud, they may lose their clients. It
yes,
may
yes,
impact the business,
yes.
right? So
That
now
is,
what is still we are having the same concern, or do you have any advanced technology in terms of security of the client's data, like any information on that one?
yeah,
Are
whatever the things we are using the real-time scenario, right? So what are the things you are telling, like security? Like if you are providing the
right?
security, nothing but, so there will be like a URL injections will be there, database injections will be there. So there will be a software installed in your system and from that software, so they're trying to hack your data or hacking the URL. Okay, so it may happen with anything. So there are certain security mechanisms also provided by the AWS like WF, Windows Application Firewall Shield. Okay, so security concerns also available here. So we need to have the network rules whenever the request from this particular user. So we need to filter the data. Any injection happens, we need to block it. Everything also available in the AWS. So even this is a
So we'll be
multi-dimensional.
covering that security in our services.
Yeah, security also if you require, I can cover the security part also.
Yeah, can you please add, because right, yeah,
Yes.
if we have some information that will be helpful.
Okay. Security things also let me cover it. Don't worry.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Thanks, I'm good.
Okay. So don't worry. But if you are working in a small based organization, large, but what are the concepts you have seen it? Is a real time employer, anything you take it, all the things we can perform in the AWS. Okay. So
Yeah.
migration activity, like if you have a large of data, we are only working on the data side only. We don't know about networking data, databases, anything. So just we are making that. So we have a lakhs of data there without losing single data. How can we migrate from on-premises to the cloud? from cloud to on-premises, how we are going to do it. So everything AWS have a solution. So these are the categorized one. And if you go for each and everything, like if you want to do the migration activities, so there is a migration. So in this migration, if you want to go with application discovery, so if you want to go the database migration, if you want to synchronize your data, so Snow family. So this is like a, if you're not able to handle the data from your AWS, so we can contact the support team. So they can have their own devices to save your data, accept data within a minutes. Okay, without losing data. So we need to choose the which of the service is suitable for you. So we can go with that service and we need to do our activity. Okay. So same thing if you go for robotics. RoboMaker is there. If you want to go with the networking activities, so these many networking activities we have it. Okay. So almost 100 plus services are there. So these services are comes along with your, so the people who are doing lot of projects, not only from the India, from around the world, different companies, different domains. Okay. What are the things are there? So based upon the requirement, their understanding. So this AWS is a platform suitable for any kind of a domain and any company can adapt the AWS. Okay.
Yes, Sam. One more request, Sam, actually. So when we are learning AWS, right? So in market, if you go, there are other competitors are there like
yes,
GCP, Google Cloud, and right, Microsoft Azure,
yes,
right? So
yes.
what? So if I ask you, right, what makes difference this AWS when compared with Azure and GCP?
Yeah. So
Like which one
everything,
is
yeah.
good?
So
Yeah.
everything it's a competition. Like if you are developing one application, like banking application, you take it. So HDFC, Citibank, SBI Bank, you take any kind of a bank. All the banks are same. So our bank requirement is we need to deposit the money, we can withdraw the money. And if you want to withdraw the money, you have the ATM, you can transfer the money from one location to another. You have the net banking, everything. So all the bankings are same. If you take HDFC, ICICI Bank, Citibank, all the banks are same. They will do the same functionality. But why we have different banks? Why can't have a single bank around the world? If you take India, if you take Hyderabad location, bank location, you take. So why we have these many banking domains? Bankings are there. So either local banks you take it, nationalized banks, central banks you take it, any bank you take it. All the banks will do the same kind of a functionality. You can deposit your money. If you want, you can withdraw the money in any way. Same thing here also. So one company has started the cloud performance. So in the market, not only the GCP, Azure, lot of companies are there to view the competition for to perform this cloud platform activity. And actively the number one, like currently, so AWS is the number one position for the last 10 years. So based upon the company requirement, they will post the questions in the forums. So we are unable to do the migration activity for this kind of activity. So which company is providing the most brilliant solution for it and that's suitable for company? So that company will be the number one company. So your problem statement, who will be solving it? So that company only, everybody will prefer the banking domains. So if you are comfortable with HDFC, we have a lot of features. So when you go with SBI, if you go for Grameen Bank or any bank, you take it. So which bank you are comfortable and what are the lot of features which you are feeling more security? ATMs are not available much more. Okay, cash will be not available in ATMs. So based upon the company which is maintaining much more company, we will choose the banking domains. Same thing comes to the cloud platform also. Everybody try to compete in the real-time scenario. Like Azure, Google Cloud, AWS, all the three things are trying to compete each other. I can provide the more services. Each company require this. This is requirement. Who can compete and who can provide the solution from their end. So AWS is keep on adding the services, media services, robotic services, migration service, any take you take it. So AWS is currently the number one company, so which is giving the high competition, lot of companies to overcome the AWS, but still trying to reach 90% reaching it, but not able to overcome it. So those many services are AWS is supported, and these services are easily able to adapt by other companies. AWS and Azure are highly competitive. So Azure is trying to compete AWS from last couple of years, reaching it, but they're not able to overcome it. Even a lot of people are working in Azure to give more functionality, more secure than AWS, more features than AWS. But even AWS company is giving high competition for the other companies. Everybody is a competitive all in the world, right? So that's the reason all companies are choosing. So if you are familiar with Azure, you can go with Azure. If you want to go with AWS, AWS, no fine. But the features and the concept wise, everything it's out. So here we are going to see these naming conventions for here. So if you go for the Azure, the naming conventions are different, but the server creation, networking setup, deploying your application, accessing the application, having the domain name. So service name is different, concept wise is same everywhere. If you take any cloud, so all these concepts are available, but the UI and the naming conventions are different. Okay, so that is the way. So currently we have most trending one is these things: Azure, GCP, and AWS. So if the company have their comfortable with, I don't want to go with AWS. So if they are charging more when compared to the GCP, so their budget constraints also they will consider it. So they will go with GCP. Okay, so Azure is giving more functionality or more features in case of our application design. So our application requirement is these things. So why can't we go with Azure? Azure is more comfortable and more easy when compared to the AWS, means the company choose the Azure. So all these cloud platforms will do the same kind of activity. The requirements which IT requires, all the requirements will be satisfied by these cloud platforms. Okay, so currently AWS is the number one. So, but Azure is giving full competition for the AWS. So maybe it may be compete and it will be the number one in couple of years we can expect. Okay, so like that. Okay, so able to got it?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, okay. Chalo, bye guys. So if you have doubts, you can clarify it. You can clarify it. Otherwise, we can wind up the class here.
Sam, tomorrow, right? So from tomorrow onwards, we'll start which one first, right? AWS or DevOps?
Yeah, AWS or DevOps, as your wish. If you want to go with DevOps or AWS, anything is fine for me. So anything is fine for me. Just that is the order we have it. So we'll go one by one service.
So my request, right? Just correct me if I'm wrong, right? So first we will start with AWS, then we'll go DevOps, because if we create by using AWS, if we create servers, right? Like if you want to play with DevOps, we need at least 1 or 2 servers, right?
Yes.
So right, once we started with AWS completed, right? If we build one servers, then we can start working on DevOps with based on the two servers, right? That's what I'm thinking. But if you have any points, right, we can add it.
Yeah. Management will tell to you guys like which one we need to start it. So already in the last class we have covered about the DevOps introduction. So now we are covered about AWS. So whatever the thing is fine, I can cover both anyone. So we can start it. Once one thing is completed, we can go with the next one. Okay.
Yep.
Bye guys.
I have one thing to ask. So in case if you can give a little idea how this AWS and DevOps are connected.
So AWS is completely infra. Like if you don't require DevOps also, DevOps activities we can perform in AWS.
Okay.
So, but tools we need to learn it. Like if you want to build the code, if you want to deploy the code, so that certain tools are available. We need to understand the concept. But without the tools also, we can do the DevOps activity in AWS, like ECS, EKR. Okay. So those services are there. Code commit, code build. Some of the services are available in AWS. So with the help of those services also, we can perform the DevOps activities.
So that means in company, DevOps can be done manually, like without AWS, we can do it, and we can.
Yeah, without AWS also we can do the DevOps activity. DevOps is separate, but they can go with on-premises. They can go with their own softwares like Jenkins, Ansible. They can go with Docker, Kubernetes.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Tomorrow we'll catch up. Okay.
Thank you.